My dudes, what's happening, man? This is Trent, and today I want to talk to you about increasing your value every single day through small actionable items that are increasing your skill, your understanding, your knowledge, your network, your speed, your technical ability. But you have to do it with focus in the direction of the career path or the art goal that you want to meet. Because if you don't define your goals and what you want out of your artistic career, somebody else will decide it for you. Then you wake up one day and you've been doing something you didn't really want to be doing for the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And believe me, that happens a lot. There's still a lot of things I wish I could do, and I'm working on that. That's why I wanted to make this video. This is my own kick in the ass. Now, this is my number one rule if you want to pursue a creative field. If you want to, for instance, I do artwork for a living, so I can certainly speak to that. And one of the things that I started doing a few years back that really changed the trajectory of my career is that every single thing that I did, I asked myself, is this increasing my value or is this decreasing my value in terms of the direction that I want to take my career? And I went to an extreme. I literally wrote out my dream life of exactly the career path that I wanted. And I was specific too. I looked at role models. I looked at people that had the career path that I really wanted or that I wanted to pursue. And I started breaking down lists of actionable items like, oh, this guy always does this. Oh, this guy works with these types of people. Oh, this guy writes these kind of books or has a YouTube channel or has a Twitter and posts this type of content. This guy presents his work in this fashion or he does galleries or whatever it was. I added that to my list of actionable items that I can learn to break down and improve my skill set so that I could get on that path, that road that takes me closer to that direction, that trajectory that I choose. Not just the jobs that are coming to me, not just the jobs that my current employer or potential clients want me to go on to, but the direction that I want to go. Are you going to be a valuable service to an employer in that particular field, whether it's concept art, illustration, or whatever it is? If it's being a hand model, are you keeping your hands nice and pristine? Are you working them out? Or is it backsliding? Is it actually presenting you as less value than where you want to be going in that direction? So a good example would be if you're really set on doing concept art for video games, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing today to increase the value of what you can contribute to a concept artist role? So for one, you have to understand what a concept artist does. I'd say that's an integral part of that equation. It's like, do your research, find out what the day-to-day, I talk a lot about what the day-to-day for a concept artist is here on my YouTube channel. So you can find out, what do concept artists actually do every day? Specifically at the game studios that you want to work at. Because asking a concept artist what he does at Naughty Dog is very different than what a concept artist does at League of Legends on Riot Games. So a great example would be if you look at concept art for something like, say, your favorite game. Pick up, I don't know if it's Dark Souls, for example, or Sekiro just came out. Maybe pick up the concept art book for Sekiro, or pick up an official concept art book. Thumb through the pages, and instead of just stopping on the fancy, pretty illustrations, take a look at the character sheets, the breakdowns, the front views, the back views. Really ask yourself, are there skills that these guys are showing in this concept art collection that you don't currently have? Now, this can be a really hard thing to do when you're literally holding up this artwork, this amazing artwork next to your own designs and being able to write out that list of all the things that you're missing. It's listing out your flaws, man, and that can be a hard thing to face. But if you could do that, it's powerful, man. And what are you looking for when you're doing that comparison? You're asking yourself the hard questions. Are there skills in terms of rendering materials? Are there skills in terms of the environments and the lighting or the structure? Does it look like they're using geometry to paint out their environments? Maybe that could be something that you add onto your list. Build an understanding of a basic 3D modeling package such as Blender. Do concept artists use 3D in their designs? Hell yeah. So that would be an incredible skill for you to pick up and learn to understand. If you think of it in terms of a video game, like an RPG, it's like you just got the ability. If you can do 3D, you just got that ability that allows you to take down that next boss fight. You are leveling up, bro. Sometimes drawing is just grinding. You're just grinding for levels. You're grinding to chip off one more item from your actionable item list to increase your value as a concept artist that day and become more employable. You're increasing your value by learning that new package by just doing a simple tutorial that you bought off of Udemy for $10, or by picking up that tutorial you got from Trent's Gumroad channel. Haha, shameless plug. Assess what you're lacking when you hold up your artwork next to the artwork of the concept artists that are working on the games that I want to work on, the guys that I want to work alongside. So I think it's important for us to look at what value we currently have. You can look at your own artwork, and I suggest making another list of things that you feel like are your strengths. I recently was looking at a lot of the submissions for the Acorn Village concept art challenge that I posted in my last video. And some of these had just exceptional, line art skills and rendering skills. And you wouldn't really have to work on that if that's one of your strengths, But, you might have to work on your ideas, and you might have to work on your speed, and you might have to work on how your concepts are being presented. Are they rendered in the style of the game that you want to submit to? And if not, if you're looking at that concept art book for Dark Souls or something, and then you look at your own artwork and it's not a match, you have to be able to assess that. And that means lists are your friend. Lists can be that thing that gives you the actionable item that helps you to sit down and go, I'm going to work on my perspective today. Or I'm going to work on my cloth materials today. Or I'm going to work on my lighting in my environment shots, or my color combinations, my color theory, or how I go about presenting color illustrations in the art style of the type of game that I want to work on. So what I'm talking about is not a specific road. There's no path that's charted out. And in fact, nobody on YouTube even, or any of these professionals, could tell you exactly the steps that you need to take to be able to learn how to increase your value, because your goals are going to be different than theirs. You have to decide what you want. Where is your desired outcome? How can you know where you're going if you don't really have a defined target? And if you don't have that defined target, you might very well end up with whatever just happens. And I guess that's what this is really about. It's about not taking a passive approach to fulfilling your dreams. You have to be active. And that means making lists and actionable items to accomplish those goals. Even if it's only something that you can put in, 8 to 10 hours a week on. But I think it's very essential to make that list and assess what it is that maybe you need to develop. What do those professionals that work on the games that you want to work on, what skills do they possess that you are lacking in? If you can identify those things, you can grow on your own. And then you don't need a mentor. You don't need somebody to hold your hand, or you don't need even an art school to show you what your strengths and weaknesses are. You can identify them yourself, and you can make a list of actionable items that'll help you to grow. I'll give you another example. In my case, I really wanted to go independent. And this was around the period of time that I developed this philosophy. And when I wanted to go independent, I thought of a couple of different things. One was that if you're going to get better at something, you have to keep doing it. And that means taking your lumps. Sometimes you're going to fail, sometimes you're going to succeed, and it's going to feel real great when you succeed, and it's going to hurt when you fail. But if you keep getting back on it, then eventually you just get better at doing it. And you can do this with everything from running an independent business to being a better artist. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you're trying to be a doctor, though. People don't really want you to try out brain surgery on their kids. You know what I'm saying? I would expect that the doctor, whatever doctor I'm working with, has the appropriate degrees to be able to handle that job very effectively. But in the case of something like a creative field, I want to be a better writer. I want to develop as a writer, and I'm writing a lot of novels right now. I'm actually working on 3 different books at the current moment. And so the best way that I found to develop that skill was to just freaking do it. And I've done a lot of research. I've read a lot of other books on their process, other authors and their process. I've spoken with several very successful authors. I've reached out to different people. I have mentors now. I take notes when I talk to these people who have all this stuff figured out. And yes, I even went out and I've gone ahead and made a couple of short stories with illustrations, and I put them up there for free for you to read over on my Gumroad channel as I'm developing my skills. And I take notes on the feedback, and I integrate that into how I can improve, how I can increase my value with every single iteration of every story that I write and every illustrated novel that I work on. And I'm on that road. I'm on that path. But if I had a short-term way of thinking, I would just write that first book, and when I'd only sold 10 copies, I would have quit. I would have given up. But I don't have a short-term way of thinking. I have a growth mentality about this. I have a mindset that every single time I sit down to write another story, it's going to be better than the last. And I'm proving that that's true, because the newest books that I'm working on are so much more action-packed and dramatic, and there's just much better integration of dialogue, and the character interactions are so much better, and the drama between characters are so much better. I learned how to do these things naturally so they become almost automatic. And that comes from every single day trying to improve my value. So I read the Robert McKee storybooks, and I read the Blake Snyder kind of formulas, and now I'm breaking away from those formulas. I'm finding my own formulas, and that, I think, is where you find the playtime. That's where you find your identity and your true strength that really makes you shine for what is unique about you. But it all stems from this momentum of sitting down, making lists of what is it that I can get better at. When you look at that other artist and they have a skill that you really want to learn how to do, if they have a Gumroad, they might very well teach you. And that's been the whole crux of what this whole thing on my YouTube and my Gumroad channel is about. It's about me sharing all of those skills and abilities that I found from my self-taught history as an artist to pass that on to you so that you can achieve your art dreams. Because me, I'm moving on. I've already climbed that mountain. I've been there. I've done that. And believe me, I still got a long way to go with art. And I plan to get better at it. In fact, this year is going to be a big year for me. There's a lot of new challenges that I have on my own list of things that I want, ways that I want to increase my own value. You can see it in the painting that you're watching me do now. I started out digging into Blender 3D this year, and I started integrating 3D models into the background so I can get a very accurate, interesting perspective and lighting in my shots to create much more complex compositions that I wasn't able to do before because I was freehanding everything. And there are ways that you can do this sort of a thing that'll speed you up too. So this painting that you're watching me do, I did this in less than 4.5 hours. Now, how is that possible? Add it to your list, because if you want to do this sort of a thing, you can learn how to do that. There are enough resources everywhere, all around you. And especially, this is an amazing time to be alive, because you right now can pick up a book to expand your knowledge and understanding of your craft, or your knowledge and understanding of how to invest better in your future, invest better in your future relationships, your social skills, your physical presentation, your fitness levels, your health, your mentality, your relationships with your family. All these things can be something that you can work on to improve your future self. And when you're always investing in your future self, you're always capitalizing, you're always collecting dividends on things that your past self has done for you. And that is a great way to carve out the future that you want to choose for yourself, whether it's in a creative field or any field for that matter, that requires a great deal of ambition. And you find it gets easier every single day because you've already proven that you can do a lot of those things in your past. And that's the last thing I want to mention. Once you've got something down, share it. Teach other people. And I'll tell you what, they'll help you when you're struggling with something else that they may be strong at. The universe is a pretty friendly place, man. So figure out what that road is that you really want to be on, and then start making your list. What strengths do you have in that direction? And what weaknesses, what things can you work on to improve in that direction? And you'll find yourself getting better every single day. So, of course, if you like my artwork and you do want to dig into some of the tools and techniques and cheats and tricks and things that I use to do illustrations and concept art for AAA games, I do have a ton of tutorials over on my Gumroad channel. And for everybody else, of course, I do have tons of freebies here every Wednesday on my YouTube channel, and sometimes more. But I can't promise more than that. I'm keeping really busy lately, but I'm doing what I can where I can. Please do not forget to subscribe, and dudes, I'll catch y'all on yonder bun. And ciao, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the Macho Man.